And with Natalia, the one thing is this is that kind of canvas that can start to look really banded. So you could see light bands or dark bands or green bands. If you left something golder than in her retouch, the blue that you put onto it is going to turn what? Like a turquoise, sea foam. Ooh.
I love the way you say turquoise.
Well, you know, I mean, now I'm kind of embracing Europe. So, you know, with it is something that you want to make sure that the target color is there. So keeping the light canvas clean, if it's not light enough from the beginning, it's not going to be right. You're not going to get it. It's just like when you're looking for a cool blonde, if you have yellow in there, right, or blanche left over, you're not going to be white, right? And so if it's there, take care of it. The one thing in here, and then please go through it, it's something that you need to platinize. Is one of my favorite, it's a favorite thing for me. And it's using a very sheer platinizer. So it could be into a permanent color, but a diluted permanent. Taking a 10 level, maybe a 10 level violet or a 10 level blue violet base, diluting it with 20 volume. I like 20 volume because I want the 6% oxygen, and then water, distilled water. So you've made it a very sheer pastel permanent color that hits all of the vinyl, the wool, and the cotton of whatever length you're working on. Then hit your target shades. Yeah? And then she'll have blue for a long period of time. It's not going to fall off.
What made a ton of sense is, like, my background before hairdressing was training to be an artist. And one of the things in that is cleaning the palette and making sure that when you have your easel and you have your piece of wood there, to prime it and then to get the underlying tone that you know you're going to use for the paints that you're going to apply on top. So really it's the same technology when you think about it. We're kind of priming the base, we're lightening the base to the lightness we want, we're priming it with our cool tone to begin with, and then on top of that we put in our depths and our levels and our tonality that actually paint the picture.
Completely. And I just think it's a cool way versus just I'm on solid blue, right? It moves from the deeper shading into the lighter shading. And you can see the simplicity of it. It's working triangular zones throughout, and then you're diffusing it in. Cool?
Got it?
Right on.
Very cool.
Thank you. And now Rachel, right? Just a couple more, we're gonna start to work it out. With Rachel, this is something that I believe that you don't want to get stuck, the GGS, right? Don't get stuck, because when you're lifting dark hair, it can go blanche, right? And especially when you're trying to create caramel. And you know, I mean, that's still the thing. It doesn't matter how much mermaid hair you're doing, the caramel market is still around, right? I think it's just from a warm to a cool. But what we did is we lifted through the blanche zone, and we did something that I like to call it an underlighting. Right? And with that underlight, you know, I think it's something, which Kardashian does she want to be at the moment, right? Like, am I Kim? Flip it. Oh my gosh, I'm Chloe. So, you know, it's something that's really cool.
And I'm so proud of him saying that, because up to a couple of months ago, he'd only ever heard of the Kardashians. So he had like the Kardashians marathon.
He is totally
sat down and I'm like, this one's Chloe, this one's Courtney, and you know, like going through, and he's like, I like the young pretty one. I'm like, of course you do. Love the young pretty one. Isn't she a model? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, hello. Hello for every designer ever. So anyways, it's really something, I'm kind of mad, I love myself, hate myself that I love the Kardashians so much, but you know, whatever, it's a market. So, right, if you're gonna do it and you're not just gonna pop extensions on and lift their root, right, and call it blonde, what I wanted to do is something that she can have a lot of shift. As Chris pulled the hair up, it's something really cool. Rachel, I did her hair really smooth today, but she gets life from her hair. I think even when she walked out, she's like, and you're welcome. You know, so it's
cool. There was that little hair flip when she came out. I'm like, you go girl, you show them.
Yeah, and if you flip it from side to side, you can get that underlighting, but it's done within 6 pieces, right? It's a quick upgrade service into your salon, so you can have the painting, and it's more than a few highlights, right? It's always the biggest change when you're running late, right? And also you're like, the client sits down, they're like, I think I want something different. You're like, no. No, you don't. No, you don't. Love this on you. How about a couple highlights? You know, I mean, let's create something simple, but let's do it that it has a lot of beauty and luxury through it, right? That she can get those soft tones, but it's done really sophisticated. Yeah? Cool. Thank you so much, Richard. All right, and then in last is Brandeis.
And you know, she's someone that we've both worked with in our past lives, And we used Brandeis down in Orlando at the premiere show, and she was a brunette. She was almost like a black, actually, almost like a shoe polish black, little 20s bob. She came back from her 6 months of traveling around the country and traveling around the world with her man, and she says, "Oh my God, I can't believe how great I am." And I'm like, "Well, how great are you?" So we kind of like met up, and we gave her a nice little kind of bob haircut. Had it all planned that we're going to keep her brunette, put some accents in. And then at our prep this week, she came in, she goes, "You know, with my hair being this natural, which, because it's really never been this natural my whole life," she goes, "Is this a good time to go light?" So I'm like, this would be the best time to go light. So we went from having a brunette palette that we were planning on doing to having a full head liner, where again we cleaned off the whole palette, gave her a cute little haircut, as you can see, a really nice head shape there, a little extension of length at the front that can be blow dried smooth, or can be extended out, or can be kind of pompadoured up. And all these beautiful tones that we're going to take you through the pattern there on our screen. And again, keep getting the base clear to begin with, and clean is the most important thing. Kind of making sure we have a nice light base, because if it's not light enough, it's not going to work. Then cooling off the palette. And then the patterning we used here was just kind of primarily through that front top area, where we went deeper on the perimeter, using our, kind of like it was, we used a direct dye, and we used a dark silver underneath, a light silver towards the top, and then through the front we diffused in a beautiful turquoise. Turquoise, is that how you say it? I'm going to do the John Simpson tilt when I do that, like turquoise. There we go. And threading in the silvers through there as well, so we have a blend through the turquoise as an accent. But I just want to say a big thank you to Brandeis, because for a model who has a book of pictures as a brunette, to go blonde is a really big step, and she kind of trusted us enough to kind of put her hair in our hands and turn her platinum and have accents in there too, and give this really edgy feeling. And I just want to say a big thank you, if you wouldn't mind joining me, for Brandeis and all the models here. Okay, so we get started?
Yeah.
We should get started.
Totally. So, if we head forward just a little bit, you can see that we went through from the shadow into the diffusion light. Now, let's add a little unicorn, mermaid, whatever she wants to call herself, right? As long as she has money, I don't mind. So,
as long as she's willing to part with that money, you don't mind.
Well, I mean, you know, that's why I charge up front.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work a little bit of a pastel pink and a pastel lavender through the interior, because I wanted to have more of a metallic reflection. It's not a metallic shade, but if you place it through, you're going to see I'm going to take the same kind of quick triangular sections as a quick 10 to 15 minute upgrade service. If you're going to do it all in one, I would apply my decolorizer, get the base right, platinumize to cool it off, right? And then start your shades. And I would take these design zones from the beginning.
What I'm going to be doing here is I'm just going to go in with Christie's, and what tends to happen is the hair has a lot of movement, a lot of texture, and it really gets very thick and very bulky around the perimeter of the hair. So to keep this laying in, I'm going to go in underneath and start cutting away the underneath length, letting the top layer kind of come over it. So it's almost like undercutting the hair, but not a severe kind of up to the occipital, just something very small at the perimeter. Take away this bulk of hair that kind of tends to bounce. You can see that bounce that she has here. And then allow that top hair to drop down. Check the perimeter length, because we don't need to look too, kind of cut off. We want it to look like it blends in, and that she has some versatility with it. So really, it's kind of finishing off the shape, and we've actually grown the hair out into more of the bob length from a really short haircut. So it's been a transition, and each time we kind of changed it up and given it a little more of a different character and a different feeling, which I think it's been nice to change it up a little bit and give some different feelings. One of the looks was almost like a cheek length, little 20s bob that was a little heavier and a bit longer at the back. This has definitely kind of got heavy for her now, and she's enjoying the length. Our models to us are like our clients. They have a say in what's being done. It's not like just sit down and we're going to do whatever we want. We treat the models as we do our clients, and we have suggestions and we have things that we put forward, but obviously their life is modeling and acting, and we have to kind of work with that too. And things like, we were always kind of interested in marriages. You actually got married last year, didn't you, Donna? She was a blonde when she got married. You can remember from the pictures that you saw earlier, the before pictures, very, very blonde. So this has been a transition for her, kind of turning her back to more of a brunette, but a brunette with lots of interest, and lots of tone, and lots of shine.
Is this an okay time to jump in? That's
Of course.
all right, great. So what I've done is I've taken a triangular section from her crown into the underparietal. First, what I've done is I'm not worried about saturating the whole entire thing. I went with the lavender first, and from the deep blue band, I outlined and surrounded the triangle. So I painted top, top, under. Now what I'm doing is I'm going in with a light shade because I want to keep the fingertips clean. My preference is I take the light shade, which is the light pink, and I'm actually applying to the back of the hand. It's one of my favorite things whenever I'm doing any sort of painting, right? Because I can keep on moving through the hair. Quick section, it is on the artistic freedom, but remember again, I need to have a little bit of help whenever I'm putting the placement in. I just can't do it and smudge it all through, right? And that's for me. I'm not a hater, I just need a little more method to it. So I take that triangle and then I take another, and it happens throughout this interior. If you wanted to move up a little bit higher, take the higher point into the part line, it's not a problem. But I'm taking that section and I take my triangle, depending on what kind of texture or what kind of result you want, create the tones, the tonal contrast within your shade shift. But here, I'm pulling up enough with my hair and I'm just pinching. Coming in with a deeper shade, painting and outlining, vertically diffusing it in. Because I still want to see that seamless blend. As I come from out the underneath, wiping away, coming through, lifting slightly just to see, diffusing, and then introducing the lighter pink, bringing the colors together, they harmoniously work, but then saturating the full end. So you had surface saturation from doing the outline to a full saturation that happens throughout her exterior. Yeah? Super easy breezy. And I'm going to do the same thing in about 3 more panels. 1, 2, 3 to balance the back, but it's another quick way that you can do this within your blonde marketplace. You can do it in the brunettes or even into your reds, just to add and make it a low light. It's a cool trick, just period. It doesn't have to be just about pures and pastels.
What I'm doing here is I'm moving through the perimeter and just chipping into the edge so that we've taken the length off to where I wanted. And now just going through and actually pointing in and cutting down into the hair so that it's reducing down the bulk. And a lot of times what I do, I'll take the surface hair away like this and work through a little bit with my points and just blend through to kind of create almost like a perimeter graduation. And then a lot of times, especially with really kind of full hair, I'll actually go back through and work a little with the texturizers to kind of soften that edge and kind of create a really nice flow through the hair. And again, this is super thick hair and very, very kind of full. So taking the texturizers, and the way I use the texturizers is the same way as I use my razor. I'll go vertically through. So the blade is on the under part, and the comb is on the top. And we'll go through with the blade inside the hair and vertically take out pieces. Now as I come to the middle, I'm going higher and deeper, because with any bob that you want to kind of have that blended roundness through there, you want to take more weight away from the middle so it really kind of sinks in. And as you come down towards behind the ear, going in vertically, taking out less behind the ears so that it keeps a fullness, because obviously with the ears you have more weight taken away to begin with, and what that starts giving you, it gives you the effect that you have a bevel on the back of the hair that isn't actually a horizontal graduation, but it bevels in the same way as horizontal graduation is. Because if you think of it, horizontal graduation would come out really high through the middle, and we go down low behind the ears. So if you do the same thing with your texturizers, lower and less deep behind the ears, and a little higher and deeper through the middle sections, it gives you exactly the same effect that graduated bob will, but it leaves the hair one length all the way through to the perimeter, because we're only taking sections of the hair away, we're not taking all the hair away. So that one length will come down to the perimeter and be a lot easier for the client to look after, but it still gives you that lovely feeling of the hair being able to move because of the pieces we've taken away in between. That makes sense? Yeah?
I'm going to jump in for just 2 seconds. So we've done the design, the detail. She has about 6 working zones. I did decide at the last just to add a little to the fringe. Why? Because I did, and I could. So, with it, if you want to choose to use a plastic film, if you want to use a paper, because it's about level of contrast to me, right? If I'm really doing tonal contrast, I like to divide it a little bit. If you want to coil it softly, cool. Just don't make sure that you don't shift all of your color off, right? That you create a different diffusion zone. I'm sure a lot of you work with this. It's my fave, the quick rip and tear go, right? So you're not all like cling wrap in the kitchen. So with this, I'm going to actually have Natalia just bounce out, right? Because she's going to process. Do you want to take that with you? All right, great. So, with this, you're going to actually, if you want to see her finish, it won't in timing happen today. But tomorrow we're back. The story is going to change, right? We're going to continue. But we are back here at 12 o'clock tomorrow. So you'll get to see Natalia finished as well as some of the other girls. Cool? Are you having a good time? You're okay. I can't see you, I can't. It's like I'm blinded by the light. That's a good song. All right, I'm going to have Rachel come over, Chris, and I'm going to get her set up while you move on.
Excellent. A lot of the times when I'm using the texturizers, I go in vertically. I hardly ever go in horizontally with the texturizers because I really feel that hair is vertical. It flows from top to bottom and it needs that kind of flow to work through. As soon as you start going through the blade horizontally, you're going to see that horizontal line. So going through vertically and kind of narrowing any area down, just visually looking at the hair and pointing into it and softening in. So it gives you that really nice kind of soft bevel, takes the weight away from the perimeter, and it actually makes it a lot easier for the client to be able to look after the hair themselves because you're almost undercutting the hair without creating an undercut. It's almost like an interior undercut. So again, because I left this heavy behind the ears, I'm just going to blend that through a bit by going through and taking some vertical panels out, having that flow through. And the same thing around the base, when you want the hair to bevel in and just have that soft contour, take the vertical sections, take a little more weight away from the underneath, and as you come up to the surface, leave it a little less deep, and you just get that really nice melt where the hair melts in. Yeah? Alright, darling. Then we're going to just rearrange the card and we're going to get into some color. Yeah.
So with Rachel, if you remember in the panels, what she had is
let's see. Green, purple. So shadowy up here, isn't it? I'm going to put the purpley shade up on the scalp, working through. And then towards the end, I'm just going to turn the brush around and put some of the purple working through as a vertical, then a little higher up and a little lower down, placing the green, and using the blue, higher and lower. So what we're doing, we're creating a pattern inside of the hair, almost like a mosaic, and then folding that piece up, getting that out of the way, moving down to my next piece, which is underneath, and again, as we said, this is all direct dye, So the hair has been pre-lightened. The base color is a level 3 violet, which is one of my favorite deeper shades because it has that beautiful intense violet tone to it. Now this time I'm working through with a brighter, more reddy pink. And then I'm going to go in with a little of my blue towards the ends. And on the opposite side, we're going to work in with some of the purple we had before. And then, where the hair has a little blue residue in it, I'm going to place the green over it, so we almost have a greeny turquoise color. So you can see that it's almost like an abstract piece of art on each slice. And each slice has a different characteristic. So,
Move in, ditch my old glove, and you're ready to go, right? Keep on moving, but keep it simple, because painting does have a really beautiful expertise to it, agree or disagree. But at the same, really keep it simple, and I think you'll have a lot of great color success. Yeah? Cool. Rachel, thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow as well as a whole other finished result and look. Thank you, gorgeous.
So we've moved on to here, and I just want to break down the styling of it, because I'm not sure if you found the same thing, but a lot of the clients are asking for half up, half down, kind of messy. They don't want it to look too perfect, they don't want it to look too done, and it makes you wonder why they're really coming to a hairstylist anyway, because they can do it themselves. But they're willing to hand over the dough and want to sit down and do it, you know, why not? So what we did here, we left the bangs down, just gave a little bevel to it. Taking a braid either side of the bangs, we actually kind of went through from the fringe area and just taking the top surface from the top of each strand, braiding into a braid on one side, braiding into a braid on the other. Went back through and pulled loops of the braid out just to loosen it up. Then went through the top and with just your fingertip and your thumb, go through and pull out pieces so it's not perfect and it's not flat. Now clients always want that little bit of on the back of the head. Well, this is a little bit of and the way of doing it is just literally pulling those strands out and getting that roundness working through. Now, texture-wise at the back, rather than going through and using a regular curling iron and getting a regular curl, we went through with our two-prong one. And I'm not sure if any of you have seen this already, but we actually have a co-create kit of curling irons, which we created. We created because when we're on the road, when we're doing clients, we like to have all our tools there. This is 6 irons that are all in one little container like this. And basically it's one heat source, and the 6 different heads literally just unscrew like this and go back on like that. They take 30 seconds to heat up, so thermally controlled, and the design of what we did here was so that it actually helps the hair, helps build the positive, negative ions to actually work in giving the hair a better feel, you know. We actually got
physically inside out.
Yeah, the heat source is equal all the way through, so it only actually gets to a 350 and will not go any further than that because hair doesn't need to be fried. So what I used here on the iron was my two-prong, winding in and out, which gives a figure 8 working through, which really, once that hair's broken up, it then gives this kind of very soft, waved look, and very beachy, and more of a ruffled kind of look. Also enables you to keep the length of the hair, because you know when you curl hair up, a lot of times it'll shrink so much. This has kind of kept that softer feel to it. And again, I'm finding that clients are wanting, whether the hair's like a shabab, you know, a shoulder length bob, or whether it's long, more of a movement through there. The other thing that this is amazing for, because it does create that figure 8, which resembles a finger wave. If you've done an up style and you just kept one strand out of the front, which is the side part, the heavy of the side part, and you use the figure 8 on that, lay it down flat rather than brushing it through, it gives the complete effect of a finger wave through there. So if those clients that want that, you're probably already following us on Facebook, you've probably seen all the craziness that goes on behind the scenes as well. So we always try and kind of post everything we can. So Yeah, pretty much an open book. It's true, isn't it? Hey, why hide it?
Thank you, Charlie.
You know, yeah, thank you.
I love you. And with it, this is something, co-create.biz definitely sets it up, that it links you to what is our education. You know, one thing that Chris and I are doing is co-create is new. We're going to start taking co-create on the road. So we're going to do some
Wait,
tours.
see the reaction to that one. We're going to be taking co-create on the road. Ooh.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, which is,
We're going to be taking co-create on the road. Yeah, and the irons are 150. This is just coffee as well. Can you imagine if I had alcohol? My God.
Yes, I can. So, we're going to definitely check out the social stuff. And, you know, it is more than, I mean, you will see us maybe on New Year or whatever, or some cute outfit. But at the same time, it is more about, it's not about, I hate rainy days and Mondays, you know, because it keeps us, it's fun, it's raw, it's real, it's authentic. And that's what co-create's all about. You know, we're not trying to sell you on anything. It's just about the love of what we do.
I mean, there we go.
There you go.
And actually, always tomorrow. We actually made it legal in August last year as well. So.
Wait, I should have had a man here.
Is it